Thank you, Senator Sheen. Senator Rubio.
Thank you. Thank you for being here, Madam Secretary, and thank you for holding this hearing to the chairman and the ranking member. I'm glad to see student loans have become such a prominent topic of conversation. I often talked about the student loan burden that I myself faced after going to school and law school, and I know the significant burden it placed on us for many years. I know people are impacted by it. The numbers speak for themselves, and so here shortly we're going to be introducing legislation that tries to tackle this in a different way. It would eliminate interest in the direct federal loan, and it would replace it with a one-time fee that would not increase, not accrue interest. It would be paid over the life of the loan. It would basically establish a one-time fee that would account for the cost of servicing the loan and so forth, but at least the student is not facing the compounding effect. Another thing this bill that we're going to file will do is it's going to automatically place borrowers in a repayment plan that reflects their income. So we can guarantee that they're not into default, because once, as we all know, these are loans that can never be discharged, not even in bankruptcy in many cases. And once you get into default, you're locked out of home ownership, and it has a sort of a scale effect on the rest of your life. I know this is sort of a new idea. I think we've shared it with your staff a little bit. We haven't filed it yet, but what is your sense of what the department's position would be on that, or at least their willingness to work with us on it?
Well, I think we share a lot of your concerns and a lot of your goals, and I look forward to more closely reviewing your proposal and working with you on that. Student loan debt is a crushing burden on way too many in this country, and it's soon to be a crushing burden on our country as a whole.
Yeah, again, I mean, I think what we're trying to really focus on is the impact that the accrued interest has, and also the disconnect that exists between how much someone is paying or borrowing, which leads to another bill that we have, which I think is consistent with what the department has recently announced as a priority, and that is providing students information before they seek a particular path, and the right to know before you go, which would provide them with baseline information. This is how much people make when they graduate from here with that degree. We're not banning any degrees. We're not prohibiting people from even borrowing to pay for those degrees. But we do think there's a massive disconnect between how much people are borrowing and assuming as a liability and a real understanding of what they can expect to earn at the back end of that process. And so the combination of those two things, sort of dealing with the compounding effect of interest and more information on the front end, we think could help from this point forward allow students and families to make more informed decisions. And that second provision about more information is that's consistent with some of what the department is directing, correct? Mm-hmm.
Yes, absolutely.
And related to student loans on a separate topic, and I've gotten a number of emails and inquiries about the way that the contracts are being handled in the servicing of the existing loans. And again, the emails I've gotten from a couple of folks, and I'm just curious to see what's going on here with this, is that it really deals with some report language that was included in last year's bill about not awarding new contracts through the Next Generation program. And apparently, at least according to those who are contacting us, they're saying that the intent of that language has not been followed by the department, and I guess now it's entangled in lawsuits and so forth. Could you give some insight or explanation as to the status of what's happening there with all of that?
Sure. So the move to the Next Gen framework requires a lot of new contracting, because providers are going to be doing different pieces of the behind-the-scenes loan servicing support for the whole federal student aid program. Heretofore, it's been a real patchwork, and it's been sort of layered upon year after year after year. So in the process of moving to that new framework, some change is going to have to take place for some of those who have provided services before. And all of the various contractors have every opportunity to bid for work under the new framework. And we're in the middle of that process now. And predictably, there are challenges to and lawsuits about the changes that are being made, because we know change is hard.
Has the department been meeting or talking to some of these incumbent providers or others
yes,
that have bid in the past?
In regular contact and regular dialogue, and making sure that they're aware of and clear on their opportunities for bidding on pieces of the business, and So yes, we're being very diligent along the way and ensuring all of those processes are followed.